Welcome all of you. We are in the journey of looking for life-changing 6 and 4. And this is the 10th lesson. Today is March 5th. So we know already that 6 and 4 is the 10 Commandment which was written by the Lord God with his own finger. And that is the one and only handwriting everlasting in the whole world. So that is why it is so important. And I asked you a question last week. I asked you to name another very important place where there's God's fingerprint. Let's start from there now. I want to go to the Garden of Eden with you just right now. Remember, the Lord God created everything in 6 days. Before he created man, he finished everything. He just said something. He used his words and word became flesh. So he said, let there be light, it happened. Let there be sea creatures, it happened. Let there be birds in the sky, it happened. So everything was created with his words. But when it comes to creation of man, it was completely different. Let's go and see how it happened. Genesis chapter 2, verse 7. This is what it says. Then the Lord God formed man of dust from the ground. He created the man out of dust. When I read this in my early stages of Christian life, I thought that it was just like when we were young. Remember, we took some clay and we made man, head, belly and hands and legs. It was so simple. I thought that that's what God did. But let me tell you, that is not it. It is so complicated. Why? If that was the man created like gingerbread man, so still that is bread or that is clay. But this particular man became alive. So it shouldn't be just dust or clay or whatever it is. No, it shouldn't be. So let's see how he made it actually. Before that, verse 6 says, but a mist used rise from the earth and water the whole surface of the ground. There was no raining at that time. The mist came and it got wet, the dust. So now, what about this dust? It is not lively, but just it was made with electrons, neutrons, protons, just atoms. That was non-living atoms. So what Lord God did, he took all these atoms and one by one he changed them into human cells, lively cells. Can you imagine? How do I know? Every single cell is different. When you are learning biology, you know that neuron cells are completely different to bone cells. Skeletal system is completely different and blood cells are totally different. Muscular cells, skin cells, everything is totally different. So he made every single cell differentiate from each other. And he used these dust one by one, single cells with his fingers, with his hands. He made it. Cells from atoms to cells. Cells collected cells to a tissue. Many tissues together, one organ, and many organs is a system. And then all of these systems put together, it's a living being. How beautiful and how fantastic it is. Imagine the blood circulation system. We need heart. How many ventricles? All these things, valves, everything must be created with the capacity, diameter, length, the thickness of the walls and everything. Then we need cells. Blood cells, neutrophils, red cells, lymphocytes. everything is different. So he created every single cell and now putting together there's a blood circulation system. I believe that he made the skeletal system first, and then next he placed everything in place, and then filled the gaps with the muscular system, and then at the end skin. He created beautiful and see even this skin, what a I can't even imagine this creation. And then he covered the man. That was how he created man. So remember, every single cell of Adam was handmade by the Lord God. This is the uniqueness of it. Every single cell has his finger marks. When he took the rib of Adam, it was already the blueprint, and he took it and he created another human being out of that rib. It was the woman. It was Eve. So every single cell of her also created, made with his finger. His fingerprint was there. So when they got together, the first child, their children, up to you and I, his fingerprints were the blueprint. So that is why it is so important for us to know. We were not just created for any reason or any other way, but this is the one and only way. He made with his finger, you and I. Not yet done. So once he already completed the creation of man, now he was still lying down. He's not yet alive. Then what he did? The second part of that verse 7, he made the man out of dust, and the Lord God breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and then man became a living being. Then only man became alive, and he opened his eyes and blinked, and he looked around, moving, and little by little he sat down and stood up and started to walk. What an amazing creation. That was how the first man and woman came alive, and after that every single human being with his fingerprint. So to me, actually this is more important than 6 and 4. That is just handwriting. But making a human being with his finger, one cell by cell, and with all his creativity, using his hands and giving his breath of life, and then he became a living being. What an incredible creation, right? So now we are learning about 6 and 4. Why we are talking about this creation of man? This is the question. I want to ask you to think of it. What is the relationship? What is the link between the creation of man with his own fingers, with his hand, and with his handwritten document, 10 Commandments? What do you think? Write down, comment underneath your ideas and suggestions. So let's analyze that in a week. Until that, he will guide you, he will protect you, and he will give his wisdom to you. In Jesus' mighty name I pray.